How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. You guys have been loving the Justin Fields content, so today we are back with some more of it. Today we are going to be talking about 3 reasons why Justin Fields is set up to succeed and thrive in Chicago. Welcome back to the show, guys. I would like to say before I introduce myself along with my co-host, we are trying to bring you guys as much Bears content as possible. The last couple of weeks got hectic, but in the beginning of the summer, we were on a good roll, and we're going to try and maintain and continue to bring you guys the most content possible. So wherever you are listening, do us a favor, drop a like and subscribe and keep following along. We're really close to 4,000 subscribers on YouTube and are going to keep bringing you guys the Bears content on the web. A little bit rusty, but feels good to be back. I am your host, Chris and Maltby. I'm joined with my co-host today, Parth Shaw. Parth. Busy last couple of 2 weeks. I was obviously up in Evanston doing work the last time we talked. Got flown out to Arizona for about a week down in Scottsdale, Sedona, Phoenix, and that place was bumping right now because of the Phoenix Suns. But feels good to be back. You've been busy working yourself, but what's been going on? How have you been?
Yeah, like you said, I've been busy working, just staying busy this summer. The weather's been nice. It's starting to rain here.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
there's been 3 tornadoes. This is about to be like the 3rd legitimate tornado in the last week.
Yeah, we might have one right now. It's starting to thunder out here in the suburbs, but we'll see how it goes. But when it's been nice, it's been pretty nice. So I'll say that.
Yeah, I've been down in like 120-degree dry heat for the last week. So I would like to think I'm like somewhat tan right now. My shoulders are like burnt to a crisp. But yeah, let's get back into it. I mean, obviously still a lot to look forward to with the Bears. There hasn't been a ton going on. I actually think the craziest thing that went on the last couple of weeks with the Bears where we were missing is Marquise Godwin announced that he's going to go try out for the Olympics for the long jump. So that's pretty cool and good luck to him. But let's hop right into this. I mean, obviously we know Justin Fields. A lot of reasons to believe that he's going to succeed. He's been the king of Chicago ever since he arrived. He got a standing ovation at Wrigley that we posted a couple of weeks ago here on the channel. And he's been the talk of the town. I wore a Justin Fields jersey in the airport a couple of days ago. And in Phoenix, everyone, Bears fans or not, was telling me that he's about to go wild. So let's jump into this. I've got 2 reasons why he's going to succeed. Parth, you've got 1, but I'm going to start with my first reason why I think Justin Fields will succeed in Chicago, and that's that the coaching staff gears to his strengths. This is pretty simple. It's something that I've preached ever since the Bears drafted him. Justin Fields doesn't need training wheels. Mitchell Trubisky, we saw him come in starting 10 games in college. He was a quarterback with a lot of potential, but he wasn't essentially someone that we thought was going to come in and be able to immediately succeed, and I think Justin Fields absolutely fits that bill. Not only that, this was Matt Nagy's pick at quarterback. This wasn't Ryan Pace trading up for Trubisky and hoping that he was going to hit the lottery. This was Matt Nagy's quarterback. So taking a look at Fields, obviously he's someone who is the dual threat quarterback, who has the deep accuracy, but he can also scramble outside the pocket. Something that I think we saw the Bears do the last 2 years specifically is try and make Mitchell Trubisky more of a pocket passer. I do like Justin Fields due to his dual athleticism. That was a lot of D's. Sorry about that. Due to his dual athleticism, I like him. He's someone who ran a 4.40. He can scramble, extend, and make plays happen, which is something Trubisky was not able to do, at least at a high rate. He was someone who was able to extend plays and sometimes make things happen, but also extend plays and make a lot of costly decisions and force turnovers. So I think Justin Fields fits to what Matt Nagy wants to do. He can be that pocket passer. He can be someone that you can run in RPOs. He can be someone that can scramble and take off. He can extend plays. I think Justin Fields fits the bill of everything that the Bears were looking for, and I think he gears to exactly to what Matt Nagy's trying to do here. So whenever he does get the opportunity, I think he's going to fit really well in this offense, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people because it's going to bring out Matt Nagy, the coach, more so than someone that we beat up on the last 2 years. I really still do think that Matt Nagy is a good coach and deserves praise in this league for how he rallies the locker room and such, but I think Justin Fields is going to work out greatly with him. So that is our number 1 reason why Justin Fields is going to have success in the NFL. But Parth, I'm going to pass it over to you. Obviously, the Bears did gear up the offensive line, also brought back some important weapons this year. So talk a little bit about the weapons on offense and what the Bears did this offseason.
Yeah, the number one thing a quarterback needs is a really good offensive line. Mitchell Trubisky, when he came into the league, the Bears' offensive line wasn't the best. The Bears' wide receivers weren't the best. I mean, Kendall Wright was our wide receiver 1 at the time. Obviously, the dude was brought into a situation where he couldn't succeed. I'll say that for sure. And we got Justin Fields now, Ryan Pace. He's out here making moves to make sure that Fields has weapons around him, and he has done that. We have Sam Mustipher at center. He's improving. He was a rookie last year, but he played really well later on in the season. He gives me hope at that center position. Tevin Jenkins at left tackle. I thought this was a steal in the second round. Thought he was for sure going to get drafted in the first round, and we find him in the second round. And, I've heard nothing but positive about this guy. He is a rookie, but I expect big things out of him this year. And then at left guard, Cody Whitehair, right guard, James Daniels. Those two guys have been here for a while. They're the staple of this offensive line. You need them to stay healthy. They struggled with health issues a lot, but if they can stay healthy, I think this offensive line will be really good. Right tackle, we don't know who's going to line up there, but it could be a Fetty or Borum, but I'm fine with either or. But I'm just going to say that offensive line is pretty stacked compared to the Bears' offensive lines over the years. And then on the wide receiver side of the ball, we have Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, two pretty good wide receivers right then and there. I don't think the Bears have had a wide receiver corps with two good, capable wide receivers in a very long time. I think since Marshall and Jeffrey.
Yeah.
So these two are, I guess, the next Marshall and Jeffrey for us. And then Monty and Tariq, the two running backs for us. I love them. And then David Montgomery is going to break out again. He broke out last year big, top 5 in rushing yards. And the quarterback needs a running back. And I think David Montgomery is a really good workhorse running back for us. And Tariq Cohen can do it all. If Justin Fields needs to check it down, he's got Tariq for that. Tariq can line up at wide receiver. He's fast enough to create space for Justin and get those easy throws in. This offense is looking pretty good, actually. I think Ryan Pace has done a pretty solid job over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and while we've seen a little bit of a regression with the defense, we definitely saw Pace put an emphasis on the offense this season. Even though we don't know who it's going to be at right tackle, I guess I'd be fine with a Fetty. But I would still like the Bears try and bring in Morgan Moses if that's possible.
I think he got signed, actually.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah. Well, I think he got picked up for it was a pretty cheap contract. $3 million.
The Bears have no money to work with.
The Jets signed him.
Darn it! Yeah. All right. Well, the offensive line is still looking better, and we saw them continue to succeed as the 2020 season went on. You mentioned that David Montgomery finished top 5 in rushing yards, and you said earlier a quarterback needs a good offensive line to succeed, but a quarterback's best friend is a good running game. So we're going to see that back in twofold with Montgomery and Cohen being back this offseason, as well as bringing in an experienced veteran in Damian Williams. I like what he brings to the table as a pass catcher, as well as someone who can take snaps on third down. Robinson's back. Do we know if he's going to be here long term? Not entirely, but he did report to training camp. He said good things about Justin Fields. Darnell Mooney entering year 2. That's exciting. And then the Bears also have some wide receivers with potential coming in fighting for that wide receiver 3 spot. It's going to be Anthony Miller, but also guys like Daz Newsome, as well as Damian Byrd and Javon Wims. So the Bears have a lot of interesting pieces on offense. We'll see who's calling the plays. I like how Fields, I said it earlier, I like how Fields aligns with this coaching staff. So I think it's going to be Matt Nagy calling the plays. But, the Bears have added a lot of pieces on offense, and it should be interesting to see how it works out with Fields. We've also seen Cole Kmet. He looks jacked. He was working out at tight end U a couple of days ago. And Jimmy Graham will be back. He had 8 touchdowns in 2020, so he's a touchdown machine. So Fields definitely has the weapons around him to be able to succeed. Before we sign off, let's talk about one more reason. A solid supporting cast on defense. I noted to it a little bit earlier. They have regressed. I'm not going to lie. In terms of where they ranked last year, they were 14th in the league in terms of allowing points, 11th in the league in terms of yards against them. So I'm not going to compare them to the 2018 unit and say that they're one of the best units in the league, but I do like where this defense is going. They obviously brought in Sean Desai to be their defensive coordinator, someone who's going to focus more on the secondary, getting Eddie Jackson back right. Roquan Smith, just a couple of days ago, was voted into the one of the top players under 25 team. So that's interesting as well. And obviously, what do I have to say about the Bears defense? They've got a lot of beasts up front. Akeem Hicks, the Bears are going to have Eddie Goldman back in 2021. Bilal Nichols, we saw have a really solid season at nose tackle, is going to be back, probably either starting or being a really solid depth piece behind, obviously, Goldman and Hicks. So this Bears defense is looking pretty ferocious. I'm a little worried about the cornerback position because
that's the only position that scares me.
Yeah, and there have been reports early out of camp that Kindle Vildor has been showing out, so maybe he wins.
I was expecting that as well.
Yeah, so maybe he wins that slot corner position. The only surefire cornerbacks the Bears have right now are Desmond Trufant, who, while he has been injured a lot and definitely has regressed, has still been solid enough throughout his time with the Detroit Lions. Serviceable enough to be able to play fine. And then obviously year 2 for Jaylen Johnson. I think we're all looking forward to that as well. But all in all, I think the Bears have the supporting cast on defense to be able to help Fields be successful. A lot of the time throughout the last 2 years, we felt bad for the defense because they couldn't catch a break. They were always going back on the field after 3 and outs. I think we're going to see that line up a little bit differently this year. I think the defense is going to have a little bit of a break, at least once Fields is in, and be able to rest finally and be able to create more turnovers, and they won't be as gassed on the field. So I'm looking forward to what this defense brings to the table. There's a couple question marks at cornerback, but you know what? I do like bringing back Roquan Smith, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn. Hopefully can turn it around in his second year in Chicago. Eddie Jackson should be back to his normal self. They brought back Deshaun Gibson. There's a lot to look forward on the defensive side of the ball as well. So Justin Fields, all in all, has a great supporting cast on defense, and I think he's going to be able to be very successful once he gets his opportunity in Chicago. But thank you guys for listening in to this episode of the Bear Down Podcast. I know it's been a while, but we're going to be trying to bring you guys content every day of the week. You guys have been absolutely loving the short mini clips that we've been posting from camp and stuff like that. So we're going to keep mixing those in here and there, but we're going to bring you guys some form of content every day of the week. So do us a favor, drop a like and subscribe. If you're listening on one of the podcasting platforms, do us a favor and follow. We have started posting articles on our website again, beardown.com. The link to that is in the top of the description if you do want to see more content from us. We have a lot of people that work hard behind the scenes. We're gearing up for a giveaway here soon. I've been saying it for a while, but we are definitely going to be giving away a Justin Fields jersey, and the way to enter that is going to be on our social media pages. So be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bear Down. You can also see sneak peeks of guests we're going to have on. I think we're going to try and line up some guests for later this week. It's been a while since we've had some expert analysis on this show. It's mostly just been us bantering for a while, but that's a great way to interact with us and see what we're doing. So be sure to check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And finally, you can find the links to our social media pages down in the description, Instagram as well as our Twitter pages for myself and Parth. It's a great way to see our thoughts on all of the NFL and the entirety of Chicago sports. We're really active on Twitter, and we've been continuing to grow on Twitter and kind of hone in on that throughout the past 6 months or so. So be sure to check us out on there. Parth Shaw kicking off the rust for sure, but it definitely feels good to be back. We've had quite the successful summer so far, but any last words before we close this one off?
Let's hope the Bears move to Arlington. That's been going on a lot. That's something that's been.
I think we'll probably make a video on that this week because I definitely want to get my thoughts out on that. I think there's pros and cons. Obviously, the history of the team is so deeply rooted in Chicago, but man, that would be quite the stadium with a retractable roof and everything, all the new technology. That would be ridiculous.
It'd be like a little Hallis, like how they have Wrigleyville. It would be like a little Bears town. You get little bars and hotels and casinos and the stadium. It'd be kind of a vibe, but we'll see where they go with that direction. Mike Ditka just said he's against that move, but we'll see.
Yeah. And I think people also have to realize that would take a while.
Yeah, it would take like 3 years.
You'd have to, at least. I think they wouldn't be able to go out there until like 2025, 2026. I know the Bills are building a new stadium, and they said they aren't going to be ready to play there until between 2025 and 2027. So assuming that the Bears would have to build a ton of restaurants, hotels, and the city of Arlington Heights would have to work on a ton of that stuff as well. That would take a while, but that's definitely intriguing, and we're going to have to talk about that in a video in the future. Actually, we'll probably do that tomorrow. Actually, that's a good idea, Parth. So once again, guys, thank you so much for the support. This summer has been absolutely wild. We're going to try and keep posting consistently here now that things are dying down a little bit and we're getting back into the groove of things. But that's pretty much it for us, guys. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby. And as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.